Tell me about what it, again, you're in the UK, I'm in America. This is so cool to, navigate across the pond and have a conversation in real time about the different maybe sales cultures. So let's talk about that for anybody watching this YouTube channel. Again, I'm Jonathan Pierce, CEO, Cloud Sales Coach. I've been a SDR slash AE, Director of Sales. I've been all the things. And I've most recently in 2023 closed 750K at my MSSP in the first quarter. Went from 50K deals to 500K deals and $4 million in SaaS sales in less than 13 months. Landed them as the number one MSSP in America on the Inc. 5000 list. And today I've got Emily Olson. Emily, tell us your path from SDR to AE. Tell us what it's been like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work at a company called Accredible, which is a company that offers digital certificates and badges. So those digital credentials that you're going to see on LinkedIn from people posting whether they've taken a course with Google or Databricks or even MIT. So if you see those, they're probably through Accredible. But I started Accredible over 3 years ago now, and Accredible was actually my first job in sales as an SDR. And I'm one of these people who literally fell into sales. And I
Okay,
know a
well,
lot.
what were you doing before sales? Let's go into right there.
Yeah, so I graduated university and I had two jobs straight after university, which was one was an admin job at a warehouse, which I hated because I applied, I just wanted office experience because I feel like when you finish university. I don't know if it's similar in the US, but everyone's like, do you have experience? And all the experience I realistically had was like part-time jobs in a cafe or like retail. And I didn't want to do that as my profession. So I was like, okay, let's get office experience and see where we can go from there.
Yeah. Okay, so not much experience. So then, I mean, SDR is a great opportunity to do, let you give a shot at that. So what was that like? From nothing to SDR, what is that like?
Honestly, it was seemed right for me because I've always been someone who loves researching and understanding. Like, I have a degree in sociology, so I guess the research side has always come quite natural to me, as well as, I guess you could argue, researching prospects and finding people to reach out to, but also talking to people in different industries. And I was quite lucky as well that I've always been interested in the education space. So working for a company such as Accredible, it was perfect because it is in the edtech space as well. So yeah, I started then. We were lucky that everyone was quite new into sales, didn't have much experience in Accredible's also a startup, so we were all learning together. And which was really cool because everyone was like eager to, I guess, make money, grow, and do as much as we can. So it was a great positive environment to be in, which I really thrived in. But yeah, I think I got like right into it of sending emails to people, finding out who our ideal profile was. And at that point, we didn't really have one. So I was very early stages to it. And that was super fun to me, as well as I guess figuring out in the SDR side of things of because I feel like as an SDR you're very much from the beginning like I don't want to do this forever. Do I want to go into an account executive role? Do I want to go into account management? So that was also a thought constantly in my head of what can I see myself doing?
Yeah. Yeah, and in that role, once you really got in, you're talking about and thinking about that career path. That's really good because I mean, you can go and do so many things. I mean, ultimately, SDR, obviously to AE, or you can like flip from, go to an account manager or customer service side and delivery, and then you can obviously move into some kind of director role and manage teams of teams. So there is a lot there. But in the SDR role at Accredible, since it's a startup and there's been some funding for you guys, what was it like, maybe dealing with cold calling for the first time? I mean, like, how did that feel? How's it been? Are you still doing cold calling too? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I won't lie. To begin with, I hated cold calling. I was like, I do not want to do it. It's not for me. It freaked me out because of my head. I guess you have the people that call you on your phone and you're like, go away, leave me alone. And you just don't want to do it at all. So in my head, I was like, can I do this?
Yeah.
And to be fair, in the early stages of Accredible, we didn't do that much cold calling to begin with, which is really rare at a company. So I think kind of the first 6 months, I didn't really do too much cold calling. It was mostly in terms of inbound, but we really started kind of pushing that more 6 months in. So I guess I wasn't the normal SDR of starting cold calling straight in. So I got used to a lot of email, LinkedIn heavy
Mhm.
rather than cold calling. But it was one of those things that I think once I started doing it, I realized, oh, it's not that scary.
Yeah. Well, let's pause there for a second. So, what were some of the metrics that were first put on you? Was it call 50 people a day, 100, 200? Do you have an auto dialer at this time? Like, what were some of those tools you used, and what were some metrics that you were judged on?
So Accredible has always been lower on the call side of things, which is really interesting. I think even now more so, we do find more people react well to emails or LinkedIn because it's not always the easiest thing to explain what a digital credential is rather than seeing the example and seeing what it is. So I will say email is the best, but to begin with, I think it was about 100 a month.
Okay.
So quite low, very
Wow.
low compared
Yeah.
to a lot of companies, which was more 100 a day. And
Mhm.
then I think the most I think I've ever been metriced on has been 500 a month.
Mhm.
So
Is
I will
that
say
current?
am, sorry.
Is that like now? It's 500 a month?
So now as an account executive, I don't have any metrics. That was when I was kind of at the end side of being an SDR.
Okay.
So I had a different manager near the last year of my SDR career to the first year, and my SDR manager in the latter side of me being an SDR. So just an outline as well. So I was an SDR for 2.5 years roughly.
Let's talk about your AE role now at Accredible. And AEs, they face a lot of different challenges, especially shifting from the SDR role. Just, whether it's like even building a pipeline, managing a pipeline, like feeling like you've got 20 pots on the stove. Like, where's this one? This one has a little bit of water. This one's boiling quicker. How has that been to juggle all of that? And is that your experience, or how are things when you're in the AE spot?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I have loved the transition. I feel like it's felt very natural to me, which not for everyone, it doesn't always feel natural, but to me, I guess I worked a lot with our principal account executive for a year before getting promoted. He kind of very much prepped me for everything. We were kind of doing discovery calls, like mock discovery calls and stuff like that, and I'd shadow a lot of his calls. So I will say I did a lot of preparation before moving forward, so I kind of knew what I was going into, which was nice because it is different. But I will say, like you said, you are juggling a lot. And I think it's really important because on the SDR side, you're not handling the contracts, you're not handling the closing of the deal. At the end of the day, the pressure as an AE is a lot higher than an SDR because, of course, as you know, revenue's on the line as an AE. And I think that is one of the hardest things because, of course, there's targets, there's pressure as an SDR, but it's not as major as being an AE. And I think that's something which you know, but the preparation for isn't always natural because you don't know how that's gonna feel of the feeling of, oh, if I lose a deal, that's money lost. And also reminding yourself that, okay, you are going to lose deals here and there. It's not the end of the world, but of course you do want that win right there.
Yeah. No, and mostly I'm talking to guys, so I'm really excited that you're on here. And so I'm going to throw out I guess a typical, like analogy that I make for guys when it comes to cold calling as a SDR versus AE. So again, hopefully, this doesn't feel weird, but at the end of the day, other guys when they're SDRs to AEs, imagine like I usually say, "Hey, you're going up to a girl to get her number at a bar. You say hello, you get her number." And that's what the SDR's role is, right? And you just do that 100 times, and you hook your buddies up, and everybody gets numbers, and then the AE role builds a relationship, and it is more intense. Imagine, dating that person, meeting their parents, starting a family, all the things that you would do, in a relationship. And the AE role, I actually had somebody, I'm going to mention a conversation I had on LinkedIn this morning was someone said, "Well, Jonathan, I don't see that you were ever an SDR." I'm like, "What do you mean? I've been an AE so many times over, and I have SDRs that don't know how to go get the girl's number, right? And so I have to get up myself and go get my own number, and ask the person." So I picked up the phone. I've cold called like crazy. I have booked 52 meetings in a month when I had a team of 10 SDRs that were booking like 5 to 26 a month. And that difference, I see SDRs or other AEs go, "Well, you've never were an SDR. How are you able to coach them?" That's because every company I've been at, SDRs can't produce the kind of results that AEs need to fill their pipe well. Either we don't have enough SDRs, or SDRs get laid off, or whatever changes in the market. Maybe the company isn't buying good lists and there's a bad thing. How AEs have to survive is building pipe, and they can't always rely on SDRs. So, in your role as an AE now, are you ever having to go out and proactively get your own leads, or, how does that been?
Yeah, I will say that is one thing where I think has actually made me thrive in the AE role because a lot of people, and this isn't generalizing everyone, a lot of people who maybe haven't started as an SDR don't necessarily know what to do in order to outreach or think that that's necessary. Or you also get a lot of AEs who do rely on inbounds or rely on their SDRs and will be also the first to say if they're not hitting their target, oh, it's marketing's fault or it's the SDR's fault. And I was someone who always was like, I want to make sure that, and I think even as an SDR, I constantly was like, why are AEs not doing outbound? You could be closing so much more if you did outbound. And that was something I knew from the get-go I didn't want to stop doing. So since day one, I haven't stopped and I've managed to close like a good number of deals
Like,
from
thumbs
outbound.
up, two thumbs up for you. Like, you're stellar. You're a rock star AE. They're probably very thankful to have you. I mean, literally, that's what you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a grind at the end of the day, and I think that's where salespeople maybe don't perform well enough because I think sometimes in a sales role, it can be really flexible and you can work your own hours, especially in tech companies and a startup. But I think the best people in a sales career are going to be the people who are putting the work in. If they have a free hour, you're doing outbound, you're looking for leads.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. You're making sure that you're on top of your follow-ups, all these things that, yeah, the selling side is really important in like closing the deal, but there's so much more I think people forget about that's involved in being an account executive. It's not just the selling.
Yeah, no, and it sounds like you're in the right role. I mean, you're gonna obviously mature and grow in this and probably, move on to, bigger and better things. But oh my gosh, I talked to another guy this morning on my LinkedIn. People can go on my LinkedIn right now. I'm very active. You can hop on cloudsalescoach.com. There's a little chat button down there. You can talk to me. I love talking with sales reps because I love sales. I absolutely love the going for the hunt, trying to close deals. And, with your AE metrics, so people are understanding you're in the right role where you're at in your development. What are some of the metrics you're hitting right now? Like as far as annual quota, or, maybe even how many discovery calls are you doing in a day? And how many cold calls are you making? Like what kind of outreach are you doing right now? What are some of those metrics?
Yeah, it really varies. So talking about kind of at the moment, it really varies, but I'd say I'm doing about 6 to 8 calls a day. It really varies in terms of what the day looks like.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm on the SMB side, so it is a lot more kind of more calls because they are often a smaller deal size, but it keeps me busy. In terms of outbound, it really varies in terms of how busy I am. If I know I'm getting a lot of leads and I don't have the time to outbound, then maybe I won't. If I have another month, like I think um a few months ago, I had a really quiet month where I was having like 2 calls a day, and I was like, okay, we need to get on the calls doing say like two, three, 400 calls
Yeah.
here and there, seeing when I can do it and really keeping that call number up. So I think the key thing is like going in when it makes sense, like,
Yeah.
and when I have the time and prioritizing that. And yeah, in terms of quotas, so the most recent, so last quarter, I was 150%, well, 149%, basically 150% of target, which was super exciting. And I also managed to close the largest deal in the SMB side, which was about 40K, which I was really proud of
Yeah.
as well.
Awesome. Well, kudos to you. Those are big numbers for SMB. And I will tell you right now, I mean, you can see me, I always flip this, but right here, the sales kickoff for Zscaler, I was there. The SMB market actually closed more in revenue than the enterprise market because volume and those, 20 to 50K deals, you can get 100 of those in SMB. The number one seller was in the SMB market. So a lot of AEs, they think, oh, I need to be in the biggest deals to get the most money. But what happens is there's something called puppy. That's the, marketing or the buzzword term for it, but it's PPUPY. It's the price per user per year. That's the term that the big enterprise account executives and the big corporations, generally over 1,000 employees, care about. So when you're in going into a SDR, going to an AE role, you think, oh, I want to make the most money. The margin, that puppy gets really slim. People want 80% discounts if they have, 5,000 employees, 10,000 employees. So your profit and your commissions as an AE are actually less. And the high margins are on the SMB. So that's how that person was able to do that. And I don't know if you really have heard the puppy term. Is that something really? It's really not thrown around under the SMB. Yeah, it's not thrown around. So that's how you go from, SMB and you move up market to mid market enterprise. You got to start learning the lingo and the terms. And there's other things like, CAC, your customer acquisition costs, all the revenue terms, your ROIs, and everything, all the buzzwords people want to hear. So when you going to the bigger markets, and you would have to learn those, but to be a director of sales, you need to speak the lingo because your sales reps are going to go, "Hey, director of sales, I don't know what we're talking about here." You got to get your business acumen up. So that's something to keep in mind of. Now, we scheduled a quick couple of minutes. Let me do a time check for us. We've got, yeah, 7 minutes that we scheduled left. Do you have something right after this where I need to be aware of? Or if we ran over just a minute on the next sell me this pen exercise, you could go over just a little, or where are
Yeah,
you?
all good. I nearly did, but not anymore, so all good.
Okay. So, well, cool. Well, thanks for providing feedback on your account executive experience. I'm sure you have, a lot of other things you want to share, and I appreciate you just making the business contact and building a relationship. I want Incredible from my company, and I think it's a no-brainer. As people are out there looking at, credentialing, whatever certifications they want for their employees to go share it. I think hopped on the first discovery call and was like, "Oh my God, when I got that Coursera cert for Agile, intro to Agile, I had like 14,000 impressions." Those are the kinds of reactions that, I want my customers and clients to have when they share their PTV method certification. So that's why I'm looking and hoping to partner with Accredible as soon as I wrap up my certification courses that I'm building on Thinkific. anybody out there who wants to grow their business and wants to grow, their account executives depth, they want to grow their SDRs, can maybe benefit from this video. Speaking with somebody, you're not a client of mine, I'm a client of yours, so I just think you have such good presence, and you're often not a voice that many people hear when it comes to getting advice. So I wanted to present you, and I hope everyone out there enjoys this video. Click subscribe, reach out to Emily Olson, obviously, if you have some, credential needs, and I'm sure Accredible does more than that. But let's shift our focus now. Let's talk about the fun part of this call. Sell me this pen. So before I start, I want to just hear, have you ever tried the sell me this pen exercise?
I think when we first met, you did say it, and I was like, I have heard of this, but I don't know why. It seems scary.
Yeah. Now it remind me, we didn't do it, did we, or did we talk?
No, we didn't do it. No, we nearly did, but it was like, yeah, we discussed it.
Okay, so awesome. Now, how do you feel about it? What are your thoughts so far, and what do you think you're gonna do?
Honestly, I don't know why. Whenever it's like, because it just seems so simple, it's scary in
Yeah.
terms of, oh, and it just, I don't know how to explain it when you're like, sell me this. Because I guess when you're selling your platform or something like that, you're usually prepped for it. But hearing sell me this pen and you're like, a pen?
Yeah.
Okay. It just seems daunting and I can't even explain why.
Hey, well, that's great. So, anybody else out there who wants to do this, go to cloudsalescoach.com. You can click me. 15 minutes is free if you're SDR. I've delineated if you're management or not. Just click the button. We can do this exercise. We can talk about your business. But let's get started, Emily. Let's make a jump. I appreciate you. I'm going to handhold you. I don't beat anybody up. This isn't going to make you feel bad. I hope you'll appreciate it. A lot of people tell me, and most people tell me that do this, later on that night, they like put their head on their pillow, they go into bed, and they're like, "Oh, I get it. I see it now." And what we're going to accomplish is two things. We're going to accomplish pain-based selling versus features. And then we're going to tap into your imagination and make you an author of pain and a pain detective. So that's the benefit of it. So we're just going to jump right in. I'm going to dive in. Now, I have a pen. I'm going to ask you the question. This pen, I'm going to give you, you can see it. And if again, we're across the pond, you're over in the UK, I'm in America. This is a Sharpie. You probably know the brand. This is a brand name. Sharpie, you better give me an endorsement for this, but there's an S gel pen. It's point .7. You can see on the tip there. So it's a very fine pen. It writes very smooth. It's a gel pen. It's got a rubber grip. I'm kind of talking about everything about it. So you can have, right, when you go to sell something, you want to know all the features of it. That's, you were saying you're loading yourself up with things about this pen. It writes in black ink. So now, Emily Olson, sell me this pen.
Okay, let me think. So I guess the first question I need to ask you is, do you have a pen?
Right. Okay. So great. I actually have a pen, and I have a Bic. And again, this pen is what we'll just also state for the record. This pen, it costs 50 cents. I have a 26-cent Bic pen on my desk.
Okay, so we need to understand, what do you do for work?
Okay. Yeah. For work, I'm in real estate, and yeah, I sell $1 million homes in Malibu.
Very exciting. So on a day-to-day basis, what are you doing in your job?
Yeah, I'm showing homes to people, driving around in my Porsche, get to wine and dine with people, do business meetings, and close deals. I'm the number one real estate person in my agency.
I love to hear that. And I guess so when you've got a contract that needs signing or you've got a client, so what are you often using? Are you using your pen that you've got?
Yeah, I just grab any pen that's around me. That's, whatever the closest one is. I try to keep one on me at all times, but yeah, I just buy a bag of Bic pens from Walmart for like $3, and that's it.
Yeah, makes sense. And how long are these pens usually lasting you for?
Oh God, they break all the time. Yeah, they're
Oh,
not good.
Yeah, so I can imagine you're having to purchase quite a few quite like often.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got a bag at home and work and yeah, at the office I keep two or three and some in my briefcase. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a lot of pens. So I can imagine that you're someone who needs a pen that's gonna last a while.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so I guess what if I could offer you a pen that's gonna last like 10 times longer than the pens that you're currently using? Like, what would you say?
Well, I would say that I would rather have 100 pens because I'm in my car signing deals, I'm at the office signing deals. Keeping up with one pen is just really hard for me.
I do get that, but also this is so hard.
You're doing so good. Yeah.
You can see me stressing on.
Okay, time out. Let's talk about it. This is perfect. So I got you to the point that everybody gets to. Okay, you're gonna see this YouTube channel. I've hit it. I've hidden a lot of videos because I don't want anybody to see. I need to build up, probably 200 videos of people doing this. Because if I put it all out there, you would just go and you would know what to do and know what to say. All
Oh,
right, here's where you were at. Everything you were doing, again, I showed you every feature about it. I talked to you about it. You were trying to build a case for the feature that this is a better quality pen, right?
yeah.
Now, you subtly, I would start measuring. You subtly started going, okay, where is a time, where you wouldn't need a pen or if it's like not working for you. But I came back with an objection that, hey, I'd rather have 100 pens. One of these suckers is going to write, and then your whole talk track broke down. You didn't know what else to do.
Okay. And I feel like that's actually a really common thing as an AE where you've kind of got a value prop you really want to get to, but if that value prop isn't right for that person,
Mhm.
then you're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could have asked you the most common objection you get, and that would be like, well, is your pen gonna stay with me everywhere it goes? And you'd be like, well, no, right? And it's just like when people ask you, well, does Accredible do this? And you say yes, but the real answer they wanted was no. So you've got to get into a habit of going, well, is that what you want from Accredible? Instead of just answering them the first thing yes. So let's talk about, shall we? Or any other thoughts? Any other ways that made you feel? Any other comments before we transition?
I'm not gonna lie, I like it because it's challenging and I'm trying so hard. Like my brain's just in so many different places where you're like trying to think, what questions should I be asking? What are we trying to get to? And then it's all like clashing because you try and find something. Because again, it just seems so simple, but because it's so simple, it's not.
Yes, it's just a pen. It's a 50-cent pen.
I know, I would be like,
Okay, so all right, your exercise is over. That was killer. Thank you just for just being you. That was awesome. So let's talk about maybe a different way to sell, shall we? So I have spent 150,000 cold calls, 3,000 discovery calls. I have gone through umpteen quarters of trying to close deals. And I discovered through wonderful coaching. Ultimately, I outgrew the coaching that I was in, but the coach worked with me, and ultimately, it led to my discovery of going. Everybody starts to understand pain sells, right? And you started to get into a little pain, so you're really. I can't wait to see what you do with this. Like, I've got businesses that are barbershops, musicians in Nashville, Tennessee, that are using this method. They're some of the people I've recorded, they call me and they're like, I sold out of this. I'm booked this. And it's not crazy results, it's real results. So I want to hear your results. I'm going to do another video and follow back up with you. But what I did was find out that the deals in my pipeline that closed were the ones where I identified and built pain. And what that looked like is we can use this sell me this pen exercise to show you the difference in feature selling that every AE in the world takes this approach. And I did too. I was like, oh, let me tell you about the feature. We don't know what else to talk about other than the item that we're selling. And the problem is your marketing team and their inbound leads, they build websites. Shh, don't tell anybody. They build websites with only features on the website. They don't put any pain in there. And that's why the MQLs, the marketing qualified leads, are weaker, and you still have to build pain in those. Now, if you got a good marketing team, world class, they'll put pain hooks in the website. That's what I help companies do to make sure that funnel from zero to SDR to you is built with pain hooks. So what happens next? Are you ready for it? Let's
I'm excited.
let's build pain. Okay. If I was going to sell you this pen, here's how I would build pain. First, I'm going to build pain, and then I'm going to show you how I become an author and I use my imagination. So there's actually three things I typically talk about too. Here we go. This pen, right? You did something good at the first start. You almost mimicked what I would do. But it's, hey, Emily, where do you have a pen in your hand right now?
No.
Okay. Where's the closest pen?
Here.
Okay. So literally seconds away. My next thought is, okay, this is not a pain sale unless I can create some. This is a gain sale. Is my product better than that? So the first step to PTV method is P. Is it a pain or gain sale? You've got to identify this customer. And you know this to be true. And you know that money follows pain. You've heard that probably, and again, all the deals I used to run, the deals that would close most confidently were the ones where I had built pain in. So money follows pain. We want to build a pipeline of pain. We're starting to think, okay, how can I qualify people with pain? I just did it. Hey, who does your credentials, right? Is it somebody else or is it Accredible? If they don't have any at all, then you go, okay, this is a pain sale. Now I need to start becoming an author of pain. So, okay, Emily, it looks like you've got a pen very close by, right?
Hmm.
I do sell pens. Maybe I'm not maybe you're not a buyer for this pen, right? Other than the fact of I can ask you some pain questions, like how good does it write? Is it one of those where you have to refill the ink? I start using my imagination to start drawing a situation where you're gonna need that pen to be changed out. How confident are you in a scale of 1 to 10 that that pen is gonna be there if you need it?
Probably 9.5.
So you're pretty confident. So I'm going to go, okay, this person isn't somebody I should waste time on. It's not a good lead. Get them out of my funnel. Let me go call the next person, right? Hey, yeah, here's what we do. We solve most people I speak with, Emily, they actually have a crappy pen, right? And I help them get a better pen that they can confidently have. And some of them they want gel and maybe they just have like, some other kind of ink or the wrong color for their contracts. Is that maybe the case for you? Did you hop on this call today to maybe get a better pen or just try a different pen you never tried before? Or what brought you to the call today so I can make this a valuable call for you?
Yeah.
Those are the thoughts. So now let's shift the gears over to somebody where we can create a little bit more pain. Let's say the pain is on this virtual counter back there in the back, right? And let's say it's a Bic pen. You want to try it? Let's go there.
Yeah.
So already I'm not wasting time on the wrong people. I'm not keeping this deal in my pipeline. I'm judging it on pain. I'm saying there's hardly any pain. Typical gain sales happen in 12 months. Pain sales happen under 45 days. So we're building a pain pipeline. Let's talk about Emily, your twin that has a big pen on the shelf back there. Okay, so hey Emily, where's the closest pen? Do you have a pen on you right now?
Yes.
Nope, it's back on that shelf.
Yeah,
Remember?
but it's there. It's there.
So you have a pen in the room, right? Now,
Yeah.
how good is this pen? Like if you needed it to write 100%, how well do you think it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Probably 4.
Okay, so 40% chance. So again, I'm going, okay, there's a wedge for me to build some pain in. All right, so Emily, if again, this is a 50-cent pen.
Yeah,
Ed McMahon. Do you know who Ed McMahon is?
I do not.
Okay, so I'm going to make sure for my non-American friends out there watching this. All right, in America, there's something called the Publisher Clearinghouse. It was really popular in the 80s and 90s. The guy would show up, you'd get something in the mail, you'd send off all this stuff, you'd pay money, but he would randomly go to people who filled that out and show up with $1 million check, like one of those big checks and sign it. So the UK equivalent of that, if someone showed up to your house with maybe you win the lottery, right? Or maybe it's
Yeah.
a drawing or something of some size. Maybe it's $1 million lottery. And they show up to your house and they're going from door to door to 10 people. And the first one that can sign a check can get that $1 million. And I'm right there standing next to you, and I have a pen that I'm 100% confident will work. And they give you 10 seconds to sign that check. Are you going to use my pen or are you going to run over there and try to get your pen?
I think I'd get your pen.
Okay, so this pen went from 50 cents to $500,000. I'm gonna split that check with you. Okay, here you go. You got 10 seconds to sign. Are you gonna take my?
Taking yours, I'm buying it now. Thank you so much. I'm getting that $1 million.
You're getting that $1 million. So that's the difference. And I'm glad that we people got to see today both situations because a lot of people go, okay, Jonathan, well, what if you can't create pain? Guess what? In poker, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And your pipeline of building pain, you need to know which deals to walk away from and who not to spend your time
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. I think that's so key. And I think that brings my thought as well to something. As an SDR, you want all of the deals through. You want to give them to the AE and you're like, come on, qualify them. Whereas as an AE, you don't want to spend time on those deals that aren't gonna close. So you're not, it's like as an SDR, you're looking for the qualification, but as an AE, you're looking more to disqualify to an extent to be like, I don't want to spend time on this deal if they're not going to buy.
Yeah, and as an SDR, when you didn't understand that, how did that make you feel?
Oh, I was so annoying. I was like, AE, qualify this. There's interest. Come on, qualify. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because now I'm like, when I've had SDRs message me, I'm like, it's not qualified. And I'd laugh at myself now because I'm like, karma.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing that a lot of SDRs, I mentioned one SDR that reached out to me today, and I'm just like, you don't see the full picture, and as an AE, you aren't just going up and getting her phone number. Oh yeah, she was cute. She was like a 7 out of 10. And I got her number. Call her. Like, look, man, she has this is different. She comes from here. I'm looking for a tall one or a short one or this or that or this background, like listen, not every lead that you toss over the fence, SDR, is the right for your AEs. We got to qualify them and walk away if there isn't pain, or spend less time on them. And unfortunately, a lot of startups they build sales pipelines with SDRs having comp plans that aren't in line with all of that, right?
Yeah, I think it's very common, and I think it's really important that the SDRs and the AEs targets are very aligned so that we are getting qualified deals that mean something.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, Emily, I couldn't ask for a better call. I thank you so much. Was this a valuable call for you?
Yeah, it was exciting. No, I loved it. Thank you.
Yeah. So you got a $500,000. You're richer now.
We love it. Come on, I'm going out to dinner.